Hey, good morning, friends. It's Carl. Welcome to the bathroom. This is going to be the late edition of the Silky Smooth Sunday. It's about 7:30. Had some trouble getting out of bed today. My back was a little achy. Anyway, we're going to have a shave so I can get ready for church and hopefully not be late. I think I'll make it. As always, first things first. Top of the morning to you. Coffee is brought to you this morning by Phoenix Artisan Accoutrement and Café Cielo Rojo, which is pre-ground espresso coffee from Colombia, I believe. I have to order it online. It's very good. All right, what are we using for the shave? Well, same old in the soap department. Col Conk Bay rum mix. I'm going to be using the $5 synthetic Indian grocery store find, the Lazer brush. I've had this for a few years. I hardly ever use it. I don't know why. For the shaver, the CJB Kamisori Feather Professional Blade, second or third use on that one. For the post, AquaVelva 5-in-1 sensitive. Let's get going. So, hope everybody's having a good weekend. Having a chance to rest up and recharge your batteries. Some folks have a 3-day weekend, so good for you. Take a minute to remember why you get the extra day off. If you're in, I think I heard Paul H. say in his hot and spicy video, you have a bank holiday in some places. Here in the States, Memorial Day. Thank you to all the veterans. And I know Memorial Day is a day to remember those who lost their lives in combat and the ultimate sacrifice. So this little brush is all synthetic, super floppy. It's just a mess, but it makes a pretty decent little lather. Dry and pasty, so I'm going to have to add a lot of water. But I mean, look, there's no backbone. It's really floppy. One of the reasons why I hardly ever use it, I don't know why I grabbed it out of the cabinet today. Especially seeing as I probably should have used something a little more efficient. And for a synthetic knot, it's really kind of scritchy. But, you know, what more can you expect from the bottom shelf at the Indian grocery that I was... So the Indian grocery also has like a little deli where they sell curries and stuff. And one night I stopped in after work, ordered some, probably like a little matar, which is one of my favorites, or a lou gobi. And while I was waiting for my food to be prepared, I was wandering around the store. They had a very small shaving section down where the personal hygiene stuff was. You know, they had the soaps and the toothpastes and hair oils and things like that. And they had a couple of sticks or a couple of blocks of alum, all of which were broken. A couple of packages of the Gillette, like 7 o'clocks, the greens and the blacks, the Indian made ones. A couple of Boss brand DE razors, and then a couple of these laser brushes. So it was a good impulse buy. Bought a Boss brush, a couple of packs of blades, this brush, and some tasty dinner. And I've gotten some good shaves out of the razor. The blades work just fine in this brush. I've got a handful of uses on it. Once again, it's not the most efficient brush because there's no backbone to it. But as you can see, whipped up a pretty decent lather. And for a synthetic brush, it had a mighty funk. I don't know what it was, but it was just like this kind of chemically smell that took forever to get rid of. Seeing as I'm pressed for time, I probably should have just grabbed a DE. But I've got about Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, About 3 or 4 days of growth. I don't remember when the last time I shaved exactly. Because I took off Friday from work, so probably Wednesday night or Thursday night, something like that. Took the day off on Friday. We had a little mini conference. At church, there's a organization called the Armed Forces Baptist Missionaries. And they travel around the globe preaching and planting churches and doing outreach to the men and women in the armed forces, trying to share the gospel with them and, you know, tell them about Jesus. And one of the things that they do is they have a course on dealing with PTSD. Which in these days, you know, is a very needed thing since we've been in an extended war. Well, actually, multiple war zones. But veterans coming back from the desert wars recently, and then those still dealing with trauma from the Vietnam War or the Korean conflict. Most of those guys are up in age, but still mental health affects them. And they also, where the class is also pertinent to first responders, police, fire, EMS, people who, you know, survivors of abuse, accidents, whatever, you know, anything that can cause PTSD. The course kind of describes and discusses and talks about ways to deal with and to help, to deal with as a survivor or someone suffering, and also how to be supportive in a proper manner if you happen to not be suffering but know someone who is. It was a really good class. It was a Friday evening and Saturday afternoon. About 6 hours total. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It was definitely needful, personally and professionally. I do run across some of those folks in my job, and having worked on an ambulance for, you know, 14 and a half years as a field paramedic, I have my share of bad calls and bad memories. Also was there was a good section in the class about survivor's guilt. Which is something that I personally have experienced as a very real thing. Not so much in my professional life, but that's a real thing a lot for soldiers and stuff like firefighters and stuff like that. But as a cancer survivor who has lost several friends to cancer since my remission is definitely something that crosses my mind quite a bit, or has in the past anyway. So it was good. It was good. Like I said, it was good personally. It was good professionally. What else is good is this shave. Beautiful first pass. All right, second pass. Plenty of lather in the cheap brush. And once you get it lathered, it's not bad for spreading or flinging across the bathroom. But it distributes the lather pretty well. Well, summer is upon us here in Central Texas. The rain has stopped. The sun has been out in my area. We're already hitting the 90s most days last week. So it's going to be a hot, sweaty, sticky summer. Was the old joke from the movie Good Morning Vietnam with Robin Williams. This is a little off color, so pardon me. It's not something I usually do. But I remember this joke because I saw that movie when I was a kid, and I didn't quite get it until I was an adult, or a little older anyway. Robin Williams is playing a radio DJ in Vietnam, and he's giving the weather report. Some of you may remember. He says, and today it's going to be hot, hot and wet. He said, that's a good thing if you're with a woman, not so good if you're trouncing through the jungle. And took me several years to get the gist of that joke. But every time I talk about the humidity, the heat and the humidity, for whatever reason, that line from that movie pops into my head. And I know it's off color, and I probably shouldn't have repeated it. Especially since I'm getting ready to go to church. But I guess I'll have to say a prayer, ask for forgiveness. I don't know. All right, pass number 2. Very good. What else? What else? I don't know, man. I feel kind of boring today. Not my usual upbeat self, talking about PTSD and survivor's guilt and telling dirty jokes. Something's wrong with me. It's not my normal status. Maybe it's because I slept poorly. Haven't had enough of this yet. Keep the lather out of the coffee. It's a good thing. Watched a few shaving videos over the past few days. Some good stuff out there. Still a lot I haven't had a chance to watch. Has anybody seen if Gino Saunier has made a new video? He hasn't popped up in my feed, and I was just thinking about it as I was getting ready to shave this morning, so I haven't had a chance to look and see if it's just YouTube keeping him out of my feed for whatever reason. Probably because I've been watching other videos too, so it's kind of giving me a mix. And since his channel is relatively new, he may not be good enough to hit the suggestions. Because I've noticed that on YouTube, even if you click the notify thing, it doesn't always. Oh, congratulations to Spencer Frankel. If you guys aren't following him, go follow him. He hit 1,000 subs the other day. It's a big deal. And he's only been doing a YouTube channel for about a year or so. 2 years maybe. So good on him. He has a great content. He's one of those guys who does a lot of shaves. But he must be, he's young and I guess rich, because he always has new stuff. Just kidding, Spence. Congratulations, buddy. Oh, I think I just nicked myself. What happens when you get in a hurry? Start ragging on your friends. Roast your friends, you cut your neck. Fantastic. Oh yeah, beautiful. All right, let me rinse it off. Yeah, man, my back spasm. I don't know what happened. I woke up yesterday. Must have been dreaming because I knew my back was hurting, and that's what woke me up, which doesn't usually happen. Frustrating. I thought about calling off sick to church today, but since I'm telling dirty jokes, I really can't afford to do that. Just kidding. That's not how it works. You guys know that. Alright. Water on the melon. See what we can do here with this floppy brush. I don't think I've ever done a head shave with this floppy brush. And I can see why. Look at just how not stiff that backbone is. There's nothing, it's just flat. And I don't know what kind of synthetic stuff this is. This looks like some of the original stuff that they used to make synthetic brushes with. I've seen some of the, like some of the old Omegas and stuff. Some of the first ones that had this kind of white knot. I don't know if they're this floppy, but ridiculous. But it gets the job done. And I imagine for the market that it is marketed to, they're getting tons of use out of it. I don't know if that was my only brush, I'd get tons of uses out of it because it works. I got to go see Avengers Endgame on my day off on Friday. Fantastic movie. Being a comic book nerd, it didn't follow any comic book storyline that I knew of, but that's okay. It was a great movie, lots of action. I did think with the cast so big, it was hard to give everybody their screen time. So some big name stars who you may have expected to see more only had a few minutes of screen time, but it was good. I won't give any spoilers. I know it's old. I mean, it's been out for a month or so now. I think there were 3 people in the theater when I went to go see it. And I went to an early showing, which was amazing, at 9:30. Fantastic, 9:30 in the morning. I woke up, did my morning stuff, had coffee, breakfast, went to the movies and got out and still had plenty of daytime left to do other things. It's one reason, you know, you have to go to a matinee at the movies these days because they're like evening movies. Even matinees are expensive. I think I paid $10 for the matinee for the 9:30 showing. It was $10. But you know, you try and catch that matinee to save a little money. If you're cheap like me, they're usually in the middle of the day, 1, 2 o'clock. You know, anything before 5 or 6. That's how it works around here. But then, like, a good chunk of the middle of your day is gone, and that bugs me. There's something about my brain. You guys know I have a broken brain, but I like to get everything I need to do done as early in the day as possible. That way I can have the you know, the rest of the day to do something that I want to do, or something, you know, or just to do nothing. If I want to do nothing, I can just do nothing. Watch YouTube videos all day, you know. But when you have something in the middle of the day that, you know, like you got to wake up and you're free for a few hours, and then you got to go do something, and then you get out and it's a few hours later, it just ruins my day. Like when we do training at work, they do training two times a day. You know, there's like an 8 or 9 to noon or 1, and then there's like a 1 or 2 to 5. And when I get put into that evening, that second class, it kills me, because you feel, at least personally, I feel rushed to try and get stuff done before, and then to get stuff done after. I just like to get stuff done and then do whatever for the rest of the day. What am I talking? I'm just blathering. You guys don't care about my mental idiosyncrasies and time management conundrums. Anyway, it was a good movie. I was happy that I got to watch it at 9:30 in the morning, and I was out by noon, and I had the rest of the day to do things. And what things did you do, Carl? Well, I went to Goodwill. You guys know I'm a cheap guy, so I went to Goodwill. And I found a stainless steel mocha pot that I've been working on getting cleaned up. If I was a good YouTuber, I would have chronicled the cleaning and stuff. But I did not, because I'm not a good YouTuber. You guys know this. And I also found something that I have no idea what it is, but I'm going to use it as something called a chorreador. For those of you who know what a chorreador is, congratulations. For those of you who don't, I didn't either. I didn't know what they were called. But a chorreador is something that you use it's a traditional coffee brewing method from like Costa Rica. And essentially it's a little stand that you hang a cloth, they call them sock or coladors. Coffee socks, coladors. It's a little cloth. It's a filter made of flannel. And so it's usually a stand with a ring in it, and then you hang the coffee filter on the top, put a cup or a pitcher underneath, and then you do a pour over into the, using the sock and the coffee and the stand. And so I saw him on YouTube and not YouTube, Instagram. And I said, wow, that's kind of interesting, you know. I like coffee, and I'm trying to figure out different ways to brew coffee and things of that nature. So I started looking to see how much one would cost, and most of them that you can order are like handmade, imported, and they are not cheap. They start at about $50. And, you know, I am cheap. So I said, surely there's got to be a way to do it. And I thought about, you know, I could probably build one. It looks like a pretty simple design. It's a base, a pole about 12 inches long, and then a base on the top with a hole cut into it. And I said, I could probably build one, but I live in an apartment. I don't have a lot of tools. I don't have access to scrap wood. So I cut myself pretty good there. So I'd probably end up spending more time and money, or about the same. And since I'm not a great craftsman, handyman, like Matti Lindholm, turning his own brushes or that kind of stuff, probably would turn out pretty not good anyway. So I decided just to see what I could come across, junkyards and things like that. And my first stop at the local Goodwill, I found something. I don't know, like I said, I have no idea what it's actually intended for. But it's going to work perfectly, I think, for what I need it for, what I want to use it for. So it's just a matter of waiting for the coffee socks to arrive, which I had to order from Amazon because specialty item. And that's that. And fantastic shave, beautiful, silky smooth. Did cut myself where I thought I did. I talked about a lot of nothing. Kept the video under 30 minutes. I have achieved all my goals. Even told the dirty jokes. That's a bonus. I don't know why I can't. Whatever. Thank you guys and gals and friends for watching. Family, you guys watch. Thank you. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Appreciate you watching and supporting my content. Hope you have a great Sunday. Hope the rest of your week treats you well. No matter what you do, go spend some time with your friends and family. It's really important. Thanks again. Have a great week. God bless y'all.